Hey, I'd love to invite you to my good friend's Aircrete Harry workshop, live training in Colorado this summer. Join him as he shows you how to spray on an emulsion that he developed for a fast construction method. Handing over to Harry.
What's up, everybody? This is Aircrete Harry, and in today's video we're going to be talking about an upcoming workshop where we're going to be building this 3-dome home design you see in front of you with a pop-out for a bedroom. And that bedroom will be an earthen floor and rammed earth walls. But the rest of the dome will be my traditional reinforced concrete cement mix. And in Crestone, Colorado is where we're going to be holding this workshop. There's going to be 4 workshops, 3 for the domes and 1 for the rammed earth walls and earthen floor. And so you can see this is the floor plan design for that home. It's over 900 square feet, which is what's required for the area. We also have 5-foot diameter windows, and the thought is you'll be able to comfortably sit on the window sill there and read a book and just have the extra space with these large window sills. Really exciting. I'm a big fan of rammed earth walls, of all the earthen systems, and so this will be a first time for me being part of a rammed earth wall or incorporating that into a structure. I just thought the bedroom where you spend a lot of time would be great for that room to be very organic and just really comfortable space. Scott Howard is going to be our earthen floor and rammed earth instructor. So Scott Howard has been involved in many earthen home projects around the world, and he has a lot of experience with this, and I'm looking forward to learning from him the rammed earth system, and I hope you guys are going to join us for all 4 workshops possibly. And we're going to be covering everything from doors to windows to floors to electrical, plumbing, radiant floor heating. It's going to be really exciting. So you can see here, my buddy Dan has 3 domes we built last year. And this is the 16-foot dome. This is a bathroom dome. And in this structure, we were using basalt mesh, basalt rebar, and basalt roving. So we're using 3 different basalt products, including basalt fiber chop mixed into the cement. So there's really 4 different reinforcing materials on this. And the idea was just to stay away from the metal in the structure. So here we're working on the 30-foot slab for the 30-foot dome we're going to be building here in just a second. And this all went really smooth. The beauty is these are really fast structures to build when you know what you're doing and you're all ready to build. And they're also really inexpensive. Now, I didn't run this rebar on this dome, and you're going to see later there was one issue on here, and you can also see the electrical conduit that was run on this, which was really great. We made a custom ladder for this dome specifically so that we could apply the cement to the top portion of it. That's the ladder there that swings around. And all the window and door framing you're going to be learning. You can see the electrical conduit we've run, and all that gets embedded into the concrete. So the one issue with the rebar here, and you're going to see later on the inside, is spacers weren't used under the rebar to keep at least a 1-inch gap away from the airform. So that becomes a pain in the butt later, because once the airform's removed, you have to cement the inside with a trowel and everything to cover it all up and strengthen it. So we won't be making that mistake on the dome that we're going to be working on in Colorado. So it's going to be a really exciting project coming up, and I hope people can take part of it. But the beauty right here with this 30-foot dome is to build the entire structure, you're looking at only $15,000 for 704 square foot. You're not going to find a less expensive way to build a permanent structure that's good for resistance to fire, hurricanes, tornadoes, termites, all of these things. This is the cement we're using. It cures to 9,000 psi after 28 days, 3,200 psi after 7. And this is the system we use. We had a mud mixer, a pan mixer, and the pump we were using to spray for the shotcrete. And then you can also see later we have a tow behind air compressor that we're using. And there I am on the custom made ladder. And there I am spraying the shotcrete mix to cover all the rebar. So we ended up putting about 2 to 3 inches on the dome. You're looking at about 4 inches on the vertical portion. And here we are. I'm teaching the workshop on how to build a foundation for the 16-foot using a ring beam system. The system where you saw the slab being poured, that was a slab on grade, and you can do that in warm weather climates. Other climates where you're worried about frost heaving, there's other systems to come up. And that was the group we had for the workshop to build that 20-foot dome. And here we are, we're working on the framing for the window. You could see already the framing for the doorway has been done in the background there. Here's the doorway. There's 2 doors on this dome and the 1 window, and plus a skylight that was installed. We had kids, young kids here, and they were very hands-on, and it really demonstrated how anybody can learn this system and build their own dome. And I think it's really important, since we had so many tragedies as far as, you know, flooding in the South and all the fires we had in California a few years ago and then more recently. And a lot of people are, you know, out of homes. And I just want people to know that this is a system that anybody can build. And with zero experience, you could build your own dome in 2 weeks. And a dome this size, a 20-foot dome, you could build complete, ready to move in for about $7,000 to $8,000, depending on the location you're in and the price you get the materials for. But structurally, it's going to be one of the strongest structures. And you can see here we're using the basalt mesh. We put a layer on of cement, and then we put the basalt mesh, and then we spray more. And that was part of the workshop, making the airform. And we had those 6 pallets of cement are what we were using for spraying this dome, the 20-foot dome. And the idea is to get a nice smooth wall on the inside so you have to do almost zero work on the inside once the airform's removed. Now, this was a last minute decision by the owner because he got a deal on the spray foam. So he ended up spray foaming it because he wanted to get into the house for winter. And the idea was originally to do an epic mix or a styrocrete mix, where we mix styrofoam and cement together and we lay on a layer about 6 to 8 inches thick. So he went with the spray foam because it was much faster. But this is the system here that you see me mixing that we were intending to put on the structural shell. And what's important is the videos I made in the past talk about me helping people build a structural shell to make it inexpensive for people to build, and then they would handle this process themselves of mixing the insulative layer and applying it by hand the way I did here in this video. And I'm pretty sure I got this done in 1 day solo. And so with other people, you know, 2 or 3 people, you can easily get one of these domes built. Especially in California. I wanted to bring up California because California has something where you're allowed to build a second resident on your property. So my thought was, people who lost their homes in fires could build, for example, a 20-foot dome in their backyard within 2 weeks and have a solid, safe structure to live in that's also fireproof while they rebuild their home. So it's really something to consider if you know someone who's lost their home in a fire or any, you know, natural disaster. Just let them know about this video, because this upcoming workshop, anyone can come learn how to build yourself which makes it really inexpensive to build, opposed to hiring someone to do it for you. You know, because when you got to pay for labor, it gets expensive. But if you can build yourself, which you 100% can do, it's really inexpensive. You're just paying for the materials. So this is the inside of the dome. That's a pantry, a shipping container that's connected to the 30-foot dome. Pantry closet. This is a quick tour of the bathroom. I'll be making another video later showing this in detail. And this is the 20-foot bedroom we were just building. That's a king-size bed in there. And there's just a ton of space in this dome. It's really a beautiful thing. And if you build this taller and you put a loft to put the loft on top, then you have even more floor space. So if you have one single 20-foot dome, you could easily have kitchen, living room, bathroom, and then with the loft area, have your bedroom up top. Really efficient, really inexpensive, and really fast to build. This is what I was talking about with the rebar. You could see all the grids from the rebars that has to still be covered up. So aesthetically, I'm not pleased, neither is the homeowners, but functionally this works great. It was super cool in there. This was a hot day and it was like really cold inside. So that spray foam insulation is working really great, but like I mentioned before, it should have been the Styrocrete or the Epic Mix. 6 to 8 inches thick would have been plenty of insulation for any climate. And again, this is a very inexpensive way and a very fast way for anybody to build. So if you're one of these unfortunate people that have lost your home or due to any, natural disaster, this is a great way, especially in California, because they have the rules where you can build a second unit on your property to rent out, to sell it, depending on the county. So right now you could build one of these, have a comfortable place to live while you take the time to rebuild your home the way it was or better. But either way, any traditional building method, stick frame or otherwise, is going to take much longer than building one of these domes using an airform. So please reach out, aircreteharry@gmail.com, and get more information on the upcoming workshop, which is going to be happening towards the end of May, and in June we're going to have workshops there. And if you're really interested in the earthen floor and rammed earth walls, we're also going to be offering that. And again, everything will be included in this workshop, from the radiant floor heating to the electrical, the plumbing, windows, doors, everything's going to be included. So it's going to be a great workshop. Don't miss out.